You might be a new player, trying to find their friends, but all the signs are in spider text and saying that you're near a bridge isn't helpful. Or you're an experienced player who still gets lost once they step off-road. I've been asked so many times how I learned the map, or how I know where I'm going. So let's start with the basics, and then I'll teach you some tricks. I'm Cooper, and I'm pretty good at this navigation thing. There are set spawn areas on the maps. On Chernarus, they're here, and on Livonia, they're here. This region is known as the Coast, for obvious reasons. Unless you're on Livonia, in which it makes no sense, but Riverbed just doesn't sound right. The first thing you'll want to do is find a town. If there aren't any immediate towns in sight, head downhill until you either hit a road or water. Once you're on a sealed road or by some water, look around, and pick a direction along it to follow. If you find these blue signs, they'll tell you how far you are from a town, and, if they're set up right, hopefully the direction to go. Once you've found a town, there'll be a few things to look out for to tell where you are. The best is just outside the town, there will be a white sign with the name of the town. Also in the town, you might find a train station, or a tourist trail stop. Both will have the location name. Yeah, it might be hard to pronounce, but at least you know what the place is called. And if you're lucky enough to be playing with someone experienced, they might know where Conhebin is. While you're here, it would be wise to seek out some water. Most of the time, the well will be near the town square, or not far from the tourist board. Another thing to keep in mind is landmarks. Things like coloured smokestacks in a town, docklands, how many cranes the docklands have, big yellow cranes, giant silo buildings, clock towers, police stations, fire stations, churches. All of these buildings are iconic and might help your friends find you. Though, if you're a solo player, you're out of luck, but it would be good to remember these details because you will be back here eventually, and remembering these details will help. Now, let's find a map. Simplest, these tourist boards. They have a big map with all of the roads, trails, towns, and a big red dot to know where you are. You can also look at the sign next to it for your location and nearby destinations. From there, you can follow roads or trails to get where you want to go. If you happen to find a tourist map item, you need to get your location on it yourself. Do your best to find your town and maybe try and visualize the roads around you from a bird's eye view to get that place on the map. Remember that on Chernarus, the further northwest you go, and on Livonia, the further south you go, the better the loot but the more dangerous it gets. Wolves, bears, and more dangerous players are out there. So now you know where you are, and you might know where you want to go. But as far as direction goes, you don't know your southeast from your north by northwests. It's okay to be directionally challenged, but here are some tips and tricks to orient yourself. If the sun is rising, it's in the east. If it's setting, it's in the west. If it's up in the sky, you can be assured it's not in the north. See, the Earth is a ball, and when you're in the northern hemisphere, the sun will always be in the south of the sky. So, if the sun is behind you, you're heading north-ish, and vice versa. If you can figure out the time of day, you can figure out if the sun is in the southeast, south, or southwest. Morning, midday, afternoon. If you know that, you can more easily find your bearings. But it's harder at night. I know. It's dark. No sun to guide the way, but there might be a moon. The moon also rises in the east, moving through the south of the sky to set in the west. But DayZ isn't like Minecraft, it's like real life. The moon will be up during different hours of the day or night based on its cycle. But there is a trick you can use to read the south from the moon. Draw a line from the tip of the moon shadow to the bottom of the moon shadow. Keep that line going down until it hits the horizon. That's south. And if the nights are set to go fast, you can also use the rotation of the stars too. They're moving east to west too, so look for where the stars are rotating clockwise, and that's south. Also, if you look towards the constellation Gemini, you'll see you have good fortune in the near future, but not before great disaster. Be wary this week, Gemini. You can also find 2 compass items. The red needle is north, where you're aiming, and whatever it says at the top of the compass, that's the direction you're headed. They might be worth picking up. Even if you know all these tricks, there will still be times where you're walking through forests and fields you've never seen before, like they must have patched the game last night because you're seriously lost, just to end up back in the town you started in. So here's how to easily find your bearings. Either A, walk uphill to find a vantage point, like a radio tower that you can spot roads or towns from, or B, walk downhill. Water runs downhill, and since the lowest downhill that downhill can be is the ocean, then keep going downhill until you either find a town, road, or the ocean. From there, it's the same steps as when you were in New Spawn. As for finding specific locations, feeling out where you might be on the map just from memory, that takes time. It takes a lot of getting lost and finding yourself. Recognize locations and get a feel for where you might be. Just enjoy exploring. Enjoy the journey. You can only discover stuff once, and a lot of us veterans wish we could be lost again. So just pick a direction and enjoy. Oh, also, if you ever find the land of ever-stretching empty hills with no grass, don't go here. This is debug. This is the end of the map. This is the void.
Never go into the void.